"Don't, you tore my dress," after the rancher did that. And then he regretted it. Emily had always loved the idea of escaping the city for a while. The constant noise, honking cars, and crowded streets made her feel tired, even when she wasn't doing anything. So when she heard about a small ranch on the outskirts of town, she felt an instant pull toward it. It wasn't just any ranch. It was one that promised wide-open fields, horses, and a simple life far from the chaos she was used to. She convinced a few of her close friends to join her for a weekend visit. They were all eager to experience something different, something that would give them stories to tell and memories to keep. The drive to the ranch was long, winding through country roads that cut through rolling hills and past small farms. Emily looked out the window, mesmerized by the greenery and the wide, endless sky. It was unlike anything she had seen in the city. The trees swayed gently in the wind, and the sun shone warmly, casting golden light on everything it touched. Birds flew across the open spaces, and occasionally a deer would appear in the distance, freezing for a moment to look at the car before disappearing into the trees. Emily felt her heart lighten with every mile. She could almost feel the stress of city life peeling away, leaving only calmness behind. When they finally arrived, the ranch was more beautiful than Emily had imagined. A long wooden fence outlined the property, and beyond it, fields stretched as far as the eye could see. Horses grazed peacefully, their coats gleaming in the sunlight. The ranch buildings were simple but sturdy, with red roofs and whitewashed walls. A small barn stood to one side, and the smell of hay mixed with fresh grass filled the air. Emily could hear the faint sound of cows mooing in the distance, and the soft clatter of hooves on wooden floors. The air smelled clean and earthy, a welcome change from the city's usual haze. They were greeted by Mr. Harris, the ranch owner, a tall man with a weathered face and kind eyes. His hands were rough from years of work, but his smile was warm and welcoming. Emily noticed how the horses seemed to respond to him, approaching without fear and nuzzling his hand gently. He had the kind of presence that made people feel safe, even without saying much. He shook hands with each of Emily's friends and welcomed them to the ranch, explaining briefly what they could do during their stay. He mentioned feeding the animals, helping with small chores, or simply enjoying the natural beauty around them. Emily felt a sense of excitement she hadn't felt in a long time. She wanted to do everything, to immerse herself fully in this new world. She and her friends unpacked their things into the small cabins the ranch provided, each one cozy and filled with simple furniture. Wooden beds, a few chairs, and soft blankets made the cabins feel comfortable. Outside, the wind rustled through the trees, creating a soft, calming music. Emily could already imagine herself waking up to the sound of birds and the sun rising over the fields. After settling in, Emily and her friends decided to explore the ranch. They walked through the fields, careful not to startle the animals. Emily's eyes wandered everywhere, taking in the horses, the cows, and even the chickens pecking at the ground. She laughed when a goat tried to nibble the hem of her dress, shaking it off gently. Her friends joined in, teasing each other and pointing out small details they found amusing or beautiful. Every step felt freeing. The open space gave Emily a sense of liberty she hadn't realized she missed so much. As they walked, Emily's mind wandered to how different life was here. There was no rush, no endless deadlines, no traffic lights or crowded sidewalks. People moved at their own pace, and there was a rhythm to everything that felt natural. She watched Mr. Harris from a distance as he moved around the ranch, checking on animals and organizing supplies. There was a quiet confidence in his movements, a way of knowing exactly what needed to be done without wasting time or energy. Emily admired that deeply. She wished she could carry that calm assurance with her back into her own life. At one point, Emily wandered a little farther than her friends, drawn by a small path leading into a grove of trees. Sunlight streamed through the branches, creating patches of light on the ground. The air smelled sweet, filled with the scent of wildflowers and fresh grass. Emily felt like she had stepped into another world, one untouched by noise and worry. She knelt down to examine a patch of wildflowers, smiling as she ran her fingers over the soft petals. The sound of her friends' laughter grew faint, replaced by the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant call of a bird. Emily had chosen her outfit for this trip carefully, a soft, flowing dress that she loved, one that made her feel light and free. As she explored, she forgot herself in the beauty around her. But the dress, delicate and thin, caught on a protruding branch of a fence. Emily yelped as she tried to free it, pulling gently at first, but the fabric tore with a soft rip. She froze for a moment, staring at the damage. Her heart sank. It was one of her favorite dresses, and now it was ruined. Before she could react further, Mr. Harris appeared. He had been checking on the nearby animals and noticed her struggle. His face tightened as he saw the torn fabric. Emily held the damaged dress carefully, her hands trembling slightly. She didn't want to get angry, but she felt embarrassed and upset. Mr. Harris's reaction was sharper than she expected. His voice was stern, carrying a tone of frustration that startled her. Emily tried to explain gently, telling him it had been an accident. Her friends arrived just then, sensing the tension and standing quietly behind her. For a few moments, the atmosphere was heavy. The sunlight felt dimmer, the cheerful sounds of the ranch muted by the sudden tension. Emily felt small and exposed, wishing she could rewind the moment. Yet, at the same time, she couldn't help noticing the care in Mr. Harris's eyes, even under the frustration. He clearly didn't mean to scare her. His pride and responsibility for the ranch had simply made him react strongly. Emily took a deep breath, reminding herself to stay calm and composed. The rest of the afternoon passed slowly. Emily and her friends continued exploring, but there was a new sense of caution. She couldn't fully shake the feeling of embarrassment, and Mr. Harris kept a careful eye on everyone, making sure no further accidents happened. Yet even with the tension, Emily couldn't help but be drawn to the ranch. She loved the beauty, the freedom, and the connection to nature. Despite the small mishap, she felt that this was exactly the kind of place where real experiences happened, moments that could teach her patience, resilience, and understanding. By evening, the group gathered near the main cabin, sharing stories of the day's small adventures. The sun dipped low, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. Emily sat quietly for a moment, reflecting on how different this life was. She felt a mixture of excitement, curiosity, and a hint of anxiety about what tomorrow might bring. The torn dress incident had shaken her, but it had also reminded her that life was full of surprises, some good and some challenging. As the stars began to appear in the darkening sky, Emily realized that she was ready for whatever the ranch had in store for her. She didn't know yet how her experience here would change her, but she felt a quiet confidence building within her. The ranch, with all its beauty, challenges, and unexpected lessons, was the perfect place to discover a new side of herself. She promised herself to embrace it fully, to learn from every moment, and to carry these memories with her long after she returned to the city. The morning sun rose slowly over the ranch, casting long, warm rays across the open fields. Emily woke with a sense of anticipation. She could hear the faint sounds of horses neighing and the distant crowing of a rooster. The air smelled fresh and clean, filled with the scent of dew-covered grass. After the small incident with her dress the previous day, she wondered how the morning would unfold. She didn't want tension to spoil the trip, but a quiet worry lingered in the back of her mind. After a quick breakfast with her friends, Emily decided to explore more of the ranch. Mr. Harris was already outside, working near the stables. He moved with precision, feeding the animals and checking on the fences. Emily approached cautiously, hoping to avoid any further misunderstandings. She wanted to learn more about ranch life and show that she could be careful and responsible. Her friends followed, chatting softly among themselves, careful not to disturb the calm atmosphere. Emily noticed how the ranch operated like a well-oiled machine. Mr. Harris had his routine, but it was clear he paid attention to every detail. He checked the water troughs for the horses, made sure the cows were grazing safely, and mended small sections of the fence that looked weak. Emily watched him work with admiration. Despite the incident with her dress, she realized that he truly cared about the ranch and everyone on it. She began to understand why he had reacted so strongly before. It wasn't about anger at her personally, but a sense of responsibility for his property. Curiosity got the better of her, and Emily asked Mr. Harris if she could help with some of the chores. He hesitated at first, clearly unsure whether she would be careful, but he eventually agreed. She spent the next hour assisting with feeding the animals. Emily was careful with every step, learning how to scoop the feed just right and place it in the troughs so the horses could eat comfortably. She laughed when a horse nudged her gently with its nose, sensing her growing comfort with the animals. Her friends joined in, some helping with the cows, others exploring different areas of the ranch. However, as the morning went on, a small problem arose. Emily and one of her friends were walking along a trail near a fence when her foot caught on a loose plank. She stumbled slightly, and in trying to steady herself, she accidentally brushed against the fence, causing it to wobble. Emily froze, remembering the torn dress from yesterday. She immediately checked the area, hoping nothing had been damaged. To her relief, the fence held and no animals were near the weak spot, but the sense of worry lingered. She didn't want to create another problem or upset Mr. Harris again. At the same time, Mr. Harris noticed their near accident. He walked over, his face serious, but there was a hint of understanding in his eyes. He reminded them gently to be careful near the fences and explained why each part of the ranch needed attention. Emily listened intently, appreciating the way he spoke. His words were firm but not harsh, and she could tell he wanted them to learn rather than feel scolded. The brief tension from the morning was replaced by a sense of respect. Emily realized that mistakes could happen, but it was how people responded to them that mattered most. As the day continued, Emily and her friends decided to explore the fields further. They wandered through rows of tall grass, laughing as the wind tickled their faces. Emily felt freer than she had in a long time. She noticed small details, the way sunlight glinted off the horses' coats, the patterns of birds flying overhead, and the tiny flowers growing at the edges of the path. Everything felt alive and vibrant. It was a world far removed from the gray city streets she was used to, and she soaked in every moment, determined to make the most of her stay. Despite the beauty, Emily couldn't shake the memory of the torn dress and Mr. Harris's reaction. She tried to focus on the present, but a small part of her felt tense, worried that she might accidentally cause another problem. Her friends noticed her hesitation and encouraged her to relax. They reminded her that accidents happen and that Mr. Harris had already forgiven her. Their words helped, and Emily gradually let go of some of her anxiety, allowing herself to truly enjoy the ranch. By late morning, Mr. Harris approached Emily and her friends with a new task. He asked if they could help collect eggs from the chicken coop. Emily was delighted. She had never done anything like this before, and the idea of helping feed and care for the animals excited her. The coop was filled with hens clucking and pecking at the ground. Emily moved carefully, making sure not to startle the birds. She gently picked up eggs, placing them in a basket with care. Each egg was warm and smooth, and she felt proud of herself for doing the task correctly. Her friends, too, laughed and shared their experiences, making the chore feel fun and lighthearted. During the activity, a small misunderstanding occurred that tested Emily's patience. One of her friends accidentally knocked over part of the coop's bedding, causing the hens to scatter. The sudden flurry of feathers and clucking startled everyone, including Emily. For a moment she panicked, fearing that she had ruined something again. But Mr. Harris calmly stepped in, helping to guide the hens back and restore the bedding. His calm, patient response taught Emily an important lesson. Mistakes are natural, but staying calm and addressing them thoughtfully makes all the difference. She felt a deep respect for him growing within her. After the egg-collecting task, Emily and Mr. Harris walked together for a while. They talked about the ranch, the animals, and his life there. Emily learned that Mr. Harris had grown up on this land and had worked tirelessly to maintain it. He spoke about challenges he had faced, storms, difficult seasons, and moments when running a ranch seemed almost impossible. Emily listened intently, realizing how much dedication it took to keep the place running smoothly. She began to see him not just as the owner of the ranch, but as someone who had devoted his life to caring for something greater than himself. As the afternoon approached, Emily decided to take a short break near a small creek that ran through the ranch. The water was clear and cool, flowing gently over smooth stones. She dipped her fingers in, enjoying the refreshing touch of nature. Birds chirped overhead and a soft breeze rustled the trees. It was peaceful, almost magical. Emily felt a deep sense of gratitude for this experience. Despite the small conflicts and worries, she knew that being here was teaching her patience, responsibility, and the importance of understanding others. Yet, the day wasn't over. While walking back toward the main cabin, Emily noticed a group of young animals, a few calves and a curious foal, wandering close to a weak section of the fence. Her heart raced. She realized that if they got out, it could lead to a serious problem. Without thinking twice, Emily ran forward, guiding the animals away from the weak fence. Her friends followed, helping as best as they could. Mr. Harris appeared quickly, assisting her in securing the area. His expression was a mix of relief and concern. After the situation was under control, he looked at Emily with a small, approving smile. She felt proud, not just for her quick thinking, but for being trusted to help in a real situation. By evening, everyone gathered around the main cabin again. They shared stories of the day's work, laughed at small accidents, and celebrated the successes. Emily felt exhausted but happy. She had faced challenges, learned new skills, and discovered more about the ranch and the people who lived there. She also reflected on her interactions with Mr. Harris, realizing that while he could seem strict at times, he was fair, patient, and deeply committed to teaching those around him. She felt a new understanding forming between them, a connection built on respect and shared experiences. As the sun set, Emily sat quietly on the porch, watching the sky turn shades of orange and pink. She thought about the torn dress from yesterday, the scare with the calves, and the lessons she had learned throughout the day. Life on the ranch was not always easy, but it was filled with moments that taught responsibility, patience, and care for others. Emily felt a sense of calm and determination growing inside her. She knew that the coming days would bring more challenges, but she also knew she was ready to face them with confidence and respect. The day ended with a sense of quiet satisfaction. Emily felt closer to her friends, to the ranch, and even to Mr. Harris, despite the small conflicts that had occurred. She realized that real life wasn't just about perfect moments. It was about learning, growing, and understanding others, even when mistakes were made. As she drifted off to sleep, Emily looked forward to the next day, eager to continue her adventure on the ranch, ready to face whatever challenges and surprises awaited her. The morning air on the ranch carried a fresh, earthy scent that seemed to fill Emily with energy. She woke early, eager to continue exploring, but there was also a quiet tension lingering in her mind. Yesterday's torn dress and the small mishaps had left her feeling uneasy, even though Mr. Harris had been patient. She wondered if she would be able to avoid mistakes today, or if something unexpected would happen again. Nevertheless, Emily reminded herself to stay calm and focus on learning. The ranch had already taught her so much about responsibility, patience, and care, and she wanted to continue growing. Breakfast was calm and cheerful. Her friends chatted animatedly about plans for the day, while Emily quietly observed the ranch's rhythms. Mr. Harris moved around the table, making sure everyone had enough to eat. He offered advice about the day's tasks, suggesting that Emily and a few others help with a small section of the pasture that needed repair. Emily felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She wanted to prove herself, but she also didn't want to make any careless mistakes. After breakfast, Emily and her group made their way to the pasture. It was wide and open, with soft, rolling hills stretching far into the distance. The grass was thick and green, dotted with small flowers that swayed gently in the breeze. Emily noticed the horses grazing peacefully nearby and felt a sense of awe. There was a freedom in the scene that she had never experienced in the city. She took a deep breath, letting the smell of grass and fresh air fill her lungs. It felt like she had stepped into another world entirely, one where life moved at its own calm pace. As they began repairing a section of the fence, Emily noticed a small crack in the wood that had gone unnoticed. She pointed it out to Mr. Harris, who came over to examine it. His expression shifted from focus to concerned, as he realized the damage could be more serious than they thought. Emily felt a pang of anxiety. She worried that this might be another situation where she would somehow cause trouble or make a mistake. But Mr. Harris's response was calm and instructional rather than angry. He explained carefully how to fix the section properly, showing her the right tools to use and the techniques needed. Emily listened closely, determined to do everything correctly. As they worked, Emily began to understand the care and attention required to maintain the ranch. Every nail had to be hammered precisely, every plank aligned correctly, and every corner checked for potential weaknesses. She felt a new appreciation for Mr. Harris's dedication. Running a ranch wasn't easy. It required constant vigilance, patience, and hard work. Emily realized that the challenges she faced yesterday, like the torn dress and the near accident with the animals, were small compared to the responsibilities he carried every day. She felt a growing respect for him, recognizing that his strictness came from a place of responsibility and care. While working, Emily noticed a foal that had wandered a little too close to the fence. Her heart raced as she realized the potential danger. Without hesitation, she carefully guided the foal back to the safe area, speaking softly to calm it. Mr. Harris observed her from a distance, and she could see a hint of approval in his eyes. Emily felt proud of herself for handling the situation calmly and responsibly. She realized that learning to act quickly but carefully was an essential skill on the ranch. Despite these small successes, Emily could feel a subtle tension building. She remembered the torn dress and the way Mr. Harris had reacted. She also noticed a small frown on his face whenever he checked their progress, as if he were silently assessing their abilities. Emily's mind raced with worry. Would he be disappointed if she made another mistake? Would he regret allowing them to help? These thoughts lingered, creating a quiet unease that made her more cautious than usual. Around midday, a new challenge emerged. One of Emily's friends accidentally knocked over a bucket of feed while reaching for a tool. The spill startled some of the nearby animals, causing a brief moment of chaos. Emily felt her heart sink. She hurried to help clean up, working quickly but carefully to calm the animals and restore order. Mr. Harris arrived just in time to assist, but he didn't scold anyone. Instead, he calmly explained how to handle similar situations in the future. Emily was struck by his patience. She realized that mistakes were inevitable, but they were also opportunities to learn and grow. After the incident, Emily took a short break to sit under a large oak tree. She wiped the sweat from her brow and watched the sunlight filtering through the leaves. Birds chirped in the distance, and the gentle rustle of the breeze created a soothing rhythm. Emily reflected on the morning's events, the challenges, the small successes, and the lessons learned. She realized that she was beginning to understand the ranch in a way that went beyond simple observation. She was learning how to anticipate problems, respond thoughtfully, and work alongside others with care and respect. As the afternoon progressed, Mr. Harris asked Emily to accompany him to a section of the ranch where a small stream ran through the property. He wanted to show her how to check the water levels and ensure the animals had access to fresh water. Emily felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She wanted to impress him, but also worried about making another mistake. Mr. Harris's calm guidance reassured her. He demonstrated the proper techniques for checking water levels, explaining why it was important to maintain them consistently. Emily listened carefully and practiced the tasks under his supervision. While checking the stream, Emily noticed a small patch of flowers growing along the bank. She paused for a moment, marveling at their delicate beauty. The sunlight reflected off the water, creating a sparkling effect that made the scene almost magical. Emily felt a sense of peace wash over her. For the first time, she realized that life on the ranch was not just about work and responsibility. It was also about appreciating the small, beautiful moments that often go unnoticed. She smiled quietly to herself, feeling grateful for the experience. However, the calm didn't last long. A sudden gust of wind blew through the area, causing the water in the stream to ripple and some of the tools to shift slightly. Emily quickly moved to secure everything, her heart pounding. She realized that even small changes in the environment could create challenges. Mr. Harris watched her with a serious expression, but he didn't intervene immediately. Instead, he allowed her to assess the situation and take action. Emily carefully adjusted the tools and ensured the animals' water access was stable. When she finished, Mr. Harris nodded approvingly, and she felt a sense of accomplishment that made the tension of the morning fade away. As the day wore on, Emily noticed a change in Mr. Harris's demeanor. He seemed more relaxed and patient, speaking with a gentleness that contrasted with his earlier strictness. She realized that he, too, had been reflecting on the events of the past day. Perhaps he had recognized the effort she and her friends were putting in, or maybe he was learning to balance his responsibilities with understanding and empathy. Emily felt a new connection forming between them, one built on mutual respect and trust. By late afternoon, Emily and her friends gathered near the main cabin to rest and share stories of the day. They laughed about small mistakes and celebrated the successes, feeling a growing sense of teamwork and camaraderie. Emily reflected on her own journey, how she had started the weekend nervous and cautious, worried about mistakes and misunderstandings, and how she had grown more confident and capable with each task. She realized that the ranch was teaching her more than just practical skills. It was teaching her about patience, resilience, and understanding the perspectives of others. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the fields, Emily felt a quiet sense of satisfaction. She had faced challenges, learned new skills, and developed a deeper understanding of the ranch and its owner. Mr. Harris, too, seemed to have softened, his earlier strictness replaced by a calm and thoughtful presence. Emily felt that the tension from the previous day was beginning to fade, replaced by mutual respect and understanding. Sitting quietly on the porch, Emily watched the sky turn shades of orange, pink, and purple. The animals settled in for the evening, and a gentle breeze rustled through the trees. She thought about the torn dress, the small accidents, and the lessons learned so far. Life on the ranch was unpredictable, but it was also filled with opportunities for growth, reflection, and meaningful connections. Emily felt a growing sense of gratitude for the experience, knowing that it was teaching her lessons she would carry with her long after she returned home. As night fell, Emily prepared for bed, feeling tired but fulfilled. The day had been challenging, yet rewarding, filled with moments that tested her patience, courage, and understanding. She realized that mistakes were not failures, they were opportunities to learn and improve. With a sense of calm and anticipation, she drifted off to sleep, ready to face the next day's experiences. She knew that more challenges and lessons awaited her, and she felt determined to embrace them fully, with confidence, care, and respect. The morning sun broke over the horizon, casting a golden light across the ranch. Emily woke feeling a quiet determination. The past 2 days had been full of learning, challenges, and small victories, and she felt ready to take on whatever the day might bring. She quietly left the cabin, careful not to wake her friends, and wandered toward the main barn. The crisp air filled her lungs, and the sounds of the ranch waking up, birds chirping, horses neighing, and the soft rustle of leaves made her feel alive. Mr. Harris was already at work, inspecting fences and checking on the animals. Today, he moved with a slightly different energy. He was more reflective, pausing at moments to consider his actions and decisions. Emily noticed the change immediately. There was a gentleness in his movements and a thoughtful look in his eyes that hadn't been there on the first day. She realized that he had been thinking about the past incidents, especially the torn dress and the earlier tensions with her and her friends. It was clear that he was beginning to feel regret for how he had reacted initially. Emily approached him cautiously, unsure of how he might respond. To her surprise, he greeted her with a small, genuine smile. "Good morning, Emily," he said. "I wanted to thank you for all your help yesterday. You handled the situations well, and I appreciate your care and attention." Emily felt a warmth spread through her chest. His words were simple, but they carried sincerity and acknowledgement. It was the first time she felt that he truly recognized her efforts, not just her mistakes. The morning passed with small, meaningful tasks. Emily helped repair a section of fencing, guided some young animals back to their pens, and assisted in cleaning the barn. Each task, though ordinary, carried a sense of significance. Emily felt proud, not just because she completed them, but because she was trusted to do them. She noticed that Mr. Harris checked in occasionally, offering advice without criticism. There was a quiet patience in his guidance, and Emily realized that he was trying to show his regret through action, by being present, supportive, and understanding. During a brief pause, Mr. Harris invited Emily to walk with him to the back fields, where the pasture met a small wooded area. The path was lined with wildflowers and tall grass, swaying gently in the morning breeze. Emily noticed a thoughtful expression on his face, as if he was gathering the courage to say something important. They walked in silence for a while, enjoying the peaceful scenery. The air felt fresh and clean, and Emily could hear the distant call of birds echoing across the fields. Finally, Mr. Harris spoke. "Emily, I wanted to apologize for how I reacted when your dress tore," he said. His voice was calm but earnest. "I overreacted, and I realize now that it was unfair. You didn't mean any harm, and I should have been more understanding." Emily felt a mixture of relief and surprise. She had expected him to remain distant or cautious, but instead, he was openly acknowledging his mistake. She smiled softly and replied, "Thank you, Mr. Harris. I appreciate that. I understand why you were concerned about the ranch, and I've learned a lot from your guidance." The conversation marked a turning point. Emily felt a deeper sense of connection to Mr. Harris. She realized that everyone made mistakes, but what mattered was recognizing them and taking responsibility. Mr. Harris continued, explaining how much he cared for the ranch and the animals, and how difficult it could be to balance responsibility with patience. Emily listened intently, realizing that his initial strictness had been rooted in love and care, even if it had been expressed in the wrong way. After their talk, Mr. Harris suggested a new task, helping him prepare a small area of the ranch for planting wildflowers. Emily felt excited. The idea of contributing to something beautiful and lasting thrilled her. She and Mr. Harris worked side by side, digging small holes, planting seeds, and covering them gently with soil. As they worked, Mr. Harris shared stories about past seasons, how the ranch had survived storms and harsh weather, and how small efforts each day had made a big difference over time. Emily listened, fascinated. She could see the pride in his eyes, but also a hint of regret for moments when he had been too strict or impatient. While planting, Emily noticed how careful Mr. Harris was in showing her the proper technique. He didn't rush, and he didn't criticize. Instead, he offered gentle guidance, showing her how to press the soil just right and place the seeds carefully. Emily felt a sense of joy and pride. The simple act of planting flowers became symbolic, a way for both of them to repair and grow, just like the seeds they were nurturing. The sunlight bathed the field in warmth, and the gentle breeze carried the scent of fresh earth and wildflowers. For Emily, the moment felt magical, filled with possibility and hope. As the afternoon progressed, Mr. Harris suggested they take a break near a small pond on the ranch. The water was clear and still, reflecting the sky like a mirror. Emily sat quietly, dipping her fingers into the cool water and watching small fish swim near the surface. Mr. Harris joined her, sitting a short distance away. They didn't speak immediately, but the silence was comfortable, filled with understanding rather than tension. Emily realized that this was part of his way of showing regret, by offering calm, shared moments that allowed trust and connection to grow naturally. After a while, Mr. Harris spoke again. "Emily," he said, "I want you to know that mistakes happen, and we all have moments we regret. What's important is how we respond, how we learn, and how we treat others after the fact. I hope you understand that I'm trying to do better." Emily felt a warmth of respect and admiration for him. She nodded and replied, "I do. I've already learned so much from you, and I appreciate your honesty. It means a lot." The remainder of the day was spent in cooperative work and quiet reflection. Emily and Mr. Harris mended fences together, guided animals, and even started a small garden near the main cabin. Each task allowed them to work side by side, building trust and understanding. Emily felt a sense of accomplishment she had never experienced before. The ranch had become a place not just of work and learning, but of personal growth, connection, and reconciliation. As evening approached, Emily and her friends gathered to watch the sunset. The sky was painted with brilliant oranges, pinks, and purples, casting a warm glow over the fields. Mr. Harris joined them, standing a little apart but smiling warmly. Emily realized that his presence had shifted, from strict and tense to calm and reflective. The torn dress incident, the near accidents, and the lessons of the past few days had all contributed to this change. Both Emily and Mr. Harris had grown from the experience, learning patience, understanding, and the importance of acknowledging mistakes. That night, as Emily lay in her cabin, she reflected on the day's events. She felt a deep sense of gratitude for the opportunity to learn and grow. She had faced challenges, experienced tension, and witnessed regret, but she had also seen how sincere effort, honesty, and understanding could transform a difficult situation into a meaningful lesson. She realized that true growth often comes from moments of conflict and reflection. Emily also felt a growing admiration for Mr. Harris, not just for his knowledge of the ranch or his hard work, but for his willingness to acknowledge his mistakes and strive to be better. She understood that everyone had moments they regretted, but taking responsibility and showing care for others could turn regret into something positive. Emily felt inspired by this realization, knowing that she could carry these lessons with her beyond the ranch, into her own life and future challenges. As the night deepened and the stars appeared above the ranch, Emily drifted off to sleep with a sense of peace and accomplishment. She knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges, new tasks, and perhaps new lessons, but she also knew that she and Mr. Harris had begun a journey of mutual respect, understanding, and growth. The ranch had become more than just a place to visit. It had become a place of learning, reflection, and reconciliation, a place where mistakes could be acknowledged, regrets could be expressed, and relationships could be strengthened through care and effort. The final morning of Emily's stay on the ranch began with a quiet calm. The sun rose slowly, painting the fields with soft golden light. Birds sang their morning songs, and the gentle rustle of leaves created a peaceful rhythm. Emily felt a mixture of excitement and bittersweet emotion. She had grown attached to the ranch, to its animals, and to the lessons she had learned over the past few days. The torn dress, the near accidents, and the earlier tensions now felt like distant memories, replaced by understanding, growth, and connection. After a simple breakfast, Emily and her friends gathered near the barn to help with one last task. Mr. Harris approached them, carrying a basket of tools and supplies. There was a warmth in his smile that hadn't been there when she first arrived. Emily felt a sense of reassurance. The bond that had begun to form through shared work, mistakes, and reflection had grown stronger. Today, the work would be lighter, more symbolic, planting flowers along the main path to brighten the ranch and leave a lasting mark of their visit. As they walked toward the flower beds, Emily reflected on how much she had changed. She remembered arriving at the ranch nervous and cautious, afraid of making mistakes and upsetting Mr. Harris. She remembered the torn dress and the tension it had caused. But now she felt confident, capable, and patient. She realized that mistakes were not failures. They were opportunities to learn, grow, and strengthen relationships. Each flower she planted was more than just a seed in the soil. It was a symbol of resilience, understanding, and renewal. Working alongside her friends, Emily carefully dug small holes, placed the seeds, and pressed the soil gently around them. Mr. Harris moved among them, offering guidance when needed but allowing them space to work independently. There was laughter, conversation, and a shared sense of accomplishment. Emily noticed how natural and easy the atmosphere had become, a sharp contrast to the initial tension of her first days. She felt proud of the trust that had grown between them. After planting, Emily and Mr. Harris took a walk through the fields. The morning was warm but comfortable, and the light created a soft glow across the rolling hills. Emily noticed small details she had missed before. The way the sunlight reflected on the horses' coats, the sound of distant water flowing in the creek, the patterns of clouds moving slowly across the sky. It was a moment of reflection for both of them, a chance to appreciate the beauty of the ranch and the journey they had shared. During their walk, Mr. Harris spoke. "Emily, I want you to know how grateful I am for your help and your patience," he said. His voice carried sincerity and warmth. "You've learned quickly, handled challenges responsibly, and shown understanding and kindness. I am proud of your efforts, and I hope you take these lessons with you." Emily felt a deep sense of appreciation. She realized that the bond they had formed went beyond work or mistakes. It was a connection built on respect, trust, and shared growth. Emily smiled and replied, "Thank you, Mr. Harris. I've learned so much here, not just about ranch work, but about patience, understanding, and responsibility. I'll carry these lessons with me always." Her words were simple but heartfelt. She felt a sense of closure and accomplishment. The fear, anxiety, and tension she had felt upon arrival had transformed into confidence, empathy, and connection. As they returned to the main cabin, Emily noticed her friends chatting happily about their experiences. They laughed about small mishaps, shared favorite moments, and expressed gratitude for the guidance and patience they had received. The group had grown closer, united by shared experiences, lessons learned, and challenges overcome. Emily realized that the ranch had offered more than just a weekend escape. It had provided growth, perspective, and meaningful connections. Mr. Harris gathered everyone near the porch to share a few final words. "It's been wonderful having you all here," he said. "You've shown care, effort, and respect, and I hope this experience stays with you. Remember, every challenge is a chance to learn, and every mistake is a step toward understanding and improvement." Emily felt inspired by his words. She understood that life, much like the ranch, was full of challenges and opportunities, and that the lessons she had learned would serve her well in the future. After Mr. Harris spoke, Emily and her friends decided to take a final walk around the ranch. The late morning sun cast soft shadows, creating a serene and beautiful landscape. Emily paused near the spot where her dress had torn, reflecting on how far she had come. The incident that had once filled her with embarrassment and worry now felt like a turning point, a lesson in patience, understanding, and resilience. She realized that even difficult moments could lead to growth and stronger connections if approached with care and reflection. As they walked back to the cabins to prepare for departure, Emily noticed the flowers they had planted beginning to take root. The small blooms seemed to symbolize the experiences of the past days, growth from effort, care, and attention. She felt proud of the tangible mark she and her friends had left on the ranch. It was a reminder that actions, no matter how small, could create lasting impact when done with thoughtfulness and purpose. Before leaving, Emily approached Mr. Harris one last time. "Thank you for everything," she said. "For your guidance, your patience, and your understanding. I've learned more than I could have imagined." Mr. Harris smiled warmly and replied, "The pleasure was mine, Emily. Remember these lessons and continue to approach life with care and thoughtfulness. You've done very well here, and I am proud of you." The exchange carried a quiet sense of completion, a recognition of growth, mutual respect, and reconciliation. As Emily and her friends loaded their belongings into the car, she looked back at the ranch one final time. The fields stretched endlessly, the horses grazed peacefully, and the cabin stood quietly in the sunlight. She felt a mixture of nostalgia and gratitude. The ranch had been a place of challenge, learning, and reflection. It had tested her patience, taught her the value of responsibility, and shown her the importance of understanding and empathy. Most importantly, it had transformed moments of tension and regret into lessons of growth, trust, and connection. The drive back to the city was quiet at first. Emily watched the countryside fade into familiar streets and buildings, reflecting on the experiences that had shaped her. She thought about Mr. Harris and his dedication to the ranch, his moments of strictness and patience, and the genuine regret he had shown for past misunderstandings. She felt inspired by the way he had turned regret into action and understanding, and she promised herself that she would approach challenges in her own life with the same mindset. Emily also thought about her friends and the shared journey they had experienced. They had laughed, stumbled, learned, and grown together. The bond formed through these shared experiences felt strong and meaningful, a reminder of how challenges could unite people and teach valuable lessons. She smiled quietly, knowing that the memories of this weekend would stay with her for a long time. By the time they arrived back in the city, Emily felt a renewed sense of confidence and purpose. The lessons of the ranch, the importance of patience, responsibility, empathy, and reflection, had left a lasting impression. She realized that growth often came from unexpected places, and that moments of conflict, regret, and tension could be transformed into opportunities for learning and stronger connections. Emily felt ready to face the challenges of her everyday life with a new perspective, carrying the wisdom of the ranch in her heart. That evening, Emily unpacked her bag and carefully hung her clothes. She paused for a moment, smiling at the memory of the dress that had torn on the first day. What had once seemed like a disaster now felt like a turning point, a moment that had led to reflection, understanding, and growth. She realized that life was full of unexpected events, some challenging and some joyful, and that the way she responded to them would shape her character and her relationships. Before going to bed, Emily sat by her window, gazing at the city lights. She thought about the lessons she had learned on the ranch, the connections she had made, and the ways in which she had grown. She felt a sense of calm and satisfaction, knowing that she had faced challenges, embraced learning, and built meaningful bonds. The ranch had been more than a physical place. It had been a classroom for life, teaching her patience, empathy, resilience, and the power of understanding others. As she drifted off to sleep, Emily felt a quiet confidence. She knew that the lessons of the ranch would guide her in future experiences, helping her approach challenges with care, thoughtfulness, and courage. She had learned that mistakes were opportunities, that regret could lead to growth, and that understanding and connection were the foundations of meaningful relationships. Emily felt grateful for the journey, for the guidance of Mr. Harris, and for the beauty and lessons of the ranch. She fell asleep with a peaceful heart, carrying the wisdom and memories of her transformative experience.